Welcome everyone to the Real Life Trading Swing Trading Program, where our mission is to enrich lives. It is October 11th. My name is Brad Reed, and I am a real life trader, and I would like to encourage you to be good. And by good, I mean get out of debt, achieve your financial dreams, and give generously to your community. What is going on, all you beautiful, awesome, wonderful people? And to the other ones as well, hello. Just playing. You guys are all amazing. Thank you for being here live. Thank you for watching the video. Another wild and crazy day on the market. Steve Tweed, are you saying you want to look at General Motors, or are you saying good morning to the people that it's morning where they are? Let's see, I got General Motors over on my list. Steve says, I don't know, it is Transportation Thursday. Good afternoon. Welcome. I checked in Slack. In fact, let me show you. I checked in Slack. I went up and down, and I did not see any requests. And I did add a few that you guys are talking about here. So if you have things you want me to take a look at, go ahead and type them into the chat pane. But so if you didn't hear the story, yesterday I sent out, see right there, 11:59. Send me your tickers for the swing. If I don't get them in tonight, I'll record a video in the morning like I did today. And I didn't see anything. This morning, I woke up and my cell phone started doing all its beeping that it did. And I see all these requests for tickers to look at in the swing trading room yesterday. So I don't know how, but somehow I just flat out missed it. And anyway, so I recorded a daily stock review this morning before the market opened with all of those tickers. So I just trying to be extra sure that I checked the list, that I made the list and I checked it twice, and we'll find out what stocks are naughty and nice, right? Something like that. All right, we got an interesting list here. Brad Hauser says, let's look at anything bullish. Brad, you let me know what you want to put on the list and I will put it there. Groovy. So just checking out the chat pane. All right, let's go take a look. Let's start with the SPY in the markets, then we'll talk about our open positions. Masashi, are you here? Masashi is here. Cool. Masashi, I will talk about NIO. I saw you requested that in Slack. So when we get to that, just hit me up with all of your beautiful, wonderful, awesome questions, and we will check it out. So the SPY closed with a little bit of a bearish candle. I saw chatter that the last couple of hours were bullish, but no, it was not. So I think this part right here was starting to shape up like a double bottom there on a support, but it did end up rolling back over. The current post-market price is 273.80. which is right around in this area. Actually, to be a little bit more specific, it looks about like that. So the real question is, where are we going to bounce? I've got a wicked strong support here. I think it was Benjamin Jane posted in Slack that this retrace bounced almost perfectly to a 38% Fibonacci line, and that this candle right here, the candle today, is almost exactly between the 38 and the 62% retracement. So not a lot of, while it is moving very fast and it is pretty scary, it's everything right now is performing as could be expected, which is ironic. I know you're saying, hey, that's pretty wild and crazy. It is scary. It is fast. But so far, I'm still bullish and looking for the chance to enter. Got a lot of questions today on comparisons. And I think these two candles in here are probably the most of what I think we're doing. So while that is pretty scary, that means we could be in for some of this, right? So we might gap down and have a big bullish candle tomorrow. Right? The real question is, how far down are we going to go? Are we going to come all the way down into here? I don't know. Rob says that's what I'm comparing it to. All right, sounds good. What you need to do for you and your trading plan is to back trade it, right? You need to go back in time, and kind of the two really turbulent times here recently were 2015 when we did this but continued bullish, right? All of this stuff, and we continued bullish. So take a look at 2015, back trade it, decide, would you have exited there or would you have exited there and then kind of rode through all of this up and down and then re-entered there? Or maybe you would have re-entered on this ascending triangle. You know, just figure out what your plan is going to be and then trade your plan. I have had a few phone calls with traders who are scared. And if you are scared, it probably means you don't have a plan or you don't understand your plan, right? Because anytime you are worried about your house catching on fire, you have a plan on how you're going to get out of the house. If you're worried about having a flat tire on the highway, you have a plan for what to do if you have a flat tire. So if you have a if you have this fear inside about what's going to happen, what's coming up in the future, it's an indication that either you don't have a plan or you don't trust your plan. So you got to create a plan, back trade it. If you don't know how to create a plan, come over here to reallifetrading.com, watch these videos. If you don't know how to back trade, come over here to youtube.com, type in Real Life Trading Back Trader. And there's we have a class in back trading. Where is it? Maybe it's back trading. How to back trade in real life. Boom, back trading in real life. We got 2 videos with your boy, Jeremy Alexander Newsom. All kinds of fun stuff there. So again, if you have a sense of fear over what's going on, create your plan. And if you do want coaching, Jeremy and I, let's see, I'm available. Well, let's see, I'll be on vacation next week for coaching. Just reach out and you can sign up for that. Party on. So the SPY continuing on down, big, huge, giant bearish volume. I think we bounce. I am still bullish. Benjamin says the market goes in both directions, no reason to fear. And we are in some crazy all-time highs. It has been a solid 3 years since we did this stuff in 2015. And it is October, and October is always a pretty crazy month. So let's see if we do this right here. I was looking to see, once we did all this stuff and we made higher highs, how sharp was that pullback? We've already pulled further back than that. We're probably down into something like that. Crazy as it sounds, I still think we make higher highs by the end of the year. However, I can be wrong. So use your protective stops, buy protective puts. And if your plan is just to hold until it comes back, keep working on that plan. I would suggest protective stops or puts for at least somewhere. At least somewhere. All right. Let's see. We have been talking about Bollingers. They're going to be ridiculously spread and wide. So the Bollinger Band right now is at 279.14 for that bottom band. I think we come up to it tomorrow. Of course, I said that yesterday. Sorry, Benjamin. Yeah, I've just had some conversations lately with people that they don't have protective stops and things are going down and they don't know what to do. And it's a struggle for people that don't have a plan because they want it to come back and they're just not sure when it is and they want to stop the losses. And we've all been there, right? But before we decided to learn how to trade, we had positions that went against us. It was scary. And yeah, we just didn't know what to do. We didn't want to take a huge loss. We, quote, couldn't afford the huge loss. But then, of course, you also can't afford for it to go any lower. Yeah, not having a plan is scary. Bollinger is really wide. Stokes and RSI, they're going to be close to peg. Yep. Nothing new here. Let's take a look at the DIA, see if there's anything that we can glean from that. So we are down into that daily 200 simple moving average. Would be a great place to bounce here on the DIA. Let's see, that's about how much data I want on the list. Neat little support there that has been respected there and was resistance over there. So a neat place for us to bounce. Could we come down into this area? Sure. But I think most real life traders are more bullish than bearish. We're just waiting for the opportunity. That's a good way to say it, Benjamin. He says, when it pulls back is always a bit scary, but that it pulls back should be expected. Groovy. So DIA, kind of a similar sentiment. Qs are going to look very much the same. And then, of course, you know, the real question everyone wants to know is, where is the support that's going to hold? I want to know that too. So if you sent a good enough fruit basket to the market maker and they tell you, let me know. IWM down in here, that one's the most bearish out of all of them, and so far has been the leading indicator. It's pretty scary, but this might mean that we could be in for another 2 or 3 bearish days in the overall market. Nia says, the DIA looks better than the others. I agree. Benjamin says, as long as the February lows hold, we're good. I agree. I don't think it gets that low though. But again, my plan is the same as what I've been telling you the last couple of weeks. When it comes back up, and it will come back up, if it forms some kind of double top or head and shoulders underneath that daily 200 simple moving average, then when it crosses the neckline, I will close. I will switch my 401k over to and I got questions on this too, Brad. What do you mean when you're going to put your 401k in bearish positions? I am either going to put my 401k into cash, 100% cash, or I will look for investment choices that I believe will go up as the market goes down. Now, could the market do some sort of double top like that? And let me redraw that because it's not going to look like that. Let me go back up to the SPY. If it does that, it's going to look something like that. I mean, it's going to be really kind of spread out. And I will exit there. And what happens if the market comes back and then does something like that? Well, I will probably get back in there, or there. And everyone says, oh man, Brad, you mean you just gave up that much of your 401k? Yeah. Yeah. So what is that, 8%? No, less than that. But yes, but I have a plan, and that's my plan. Because I believe if it does that, it may be more of a 2007 type situation. We shall see. But until then, we will react and not be predicting. Questions on the overall markets? What I'm doing, if this VIX keeps going, I will buy puts when it gets to 40. Benjamin says, short ETFs, protective position, bonds, high yield divvies, dividend stocks, materials, metals, and utilities. Yep. And I've got a little bit of some of those on my list. All right, so the VIX climbing higher as expected. DDD, that naked put looks just fine for a week from Friday. What happened to Tesla? Oh, I've got Tesla way down here. Tesla is a transportation stock. We can talk about that for transportation Thursday. Tesla down there at a wicked strong support. Jeremy's plan is to hold over earnings and then close it out for a sweet profit. But interesting how the rest of the market is getting just completely demolished, and Tesla is just chilling out. And in the day trading program, when we were scanning for stocks to trade, we looked at easily 200 stocks today. There are some stocks that are going bullish. Masashi says, "What's Transportation Thursday?" Masashi, on Mondays, Monday is Merchant Monday, and we pretty much look at merchant stocks, transactional stocks like Macy's and Walmart, Target. Tuesday is Technology Tuesday, where we look at technology stocks like Amazon and Apple and Netflix. And Wednesdays is energies, and Thursdays is transportation companies. Friday is financials. The last couple of days, because of the movement of the market, I've had a bunch of requests, and I do request first, and then whatever the theme of the day is second, if there is time. Benjamin says, Tesla got wrecked already. Yeah, it's down there on support. This is a great picture right there of what I think the overall market might do. No, I think it's bigger than that. If this shape right here were under the daily 200 simple moving average, something like that, then I would be exiting, closing out 401ks or stuff somewhere in this range. I don't know if it would be that candle there or this candle there, but if I had 401k and this were the overall market and the daily 200 simple moving average were doing something like that, I would be closing out there or there. We shall see. As far as how to trade Tesla, wait for earnings. If you are in Tesla, I think protective stops or protective puts right down there seem pretty cool. If you want to do covered calls over earnings, somewhere in the 320 to 340 range looks pretty good. But if you do that, you might be taking a loss on your overall position on something that is moving up nicely. So be careful on that. Questions or thoughts about Tesla, let me know. Home Depot, kind of like the rest of the market, down into some support levels. Earnings coming up, but not for several weeks. It looks like we got 33 days until earnings on Home Depot. Be interesting to see it wiggle right in here, maybe make an ascending triangle, and then after earnings, we can take it on bullish into the holidays. But yeah, I'm longer term more bullish than bearish on Home Depot. Just need to wait for this thing to bounce a little bit. Bollinger Bands are super wide, but that bottom Bollinger is right in there. So indicative of things need to chill out and relax, and they will, just not sure when. Stochastic's going sideways there, indicating that that the speed at which it is going down might be maxed. So we'll watch that and see what happens on Home Depot. No trades for me in the short term on that. 5 below, again, we were hoping this thing was going to wiggle on top of the 50 moving average, and then maybe we could buy some sort of bounce. That did not happen. But what might happen, which would be super neat, is if it makes an inverted head and shoulders, I will be buying on that right shoulder for sure. And if it makes a higher high there, there's a chance I will buy the dip with some sort of limit fill like that, especially if that 100 simple moving average keeps coming up. I'll be watching for 5 below, nothing yet. Accenture is one that a lot of people have been talking about. And again, I feel like such a dope that I missed that double top, but that's okay. I felt like a dope before. I got over it. I'll feel like a dope again. Interesting pivot where we are now. A very strong support level. We'll see what we do. I think tomorrow we get a bullish candle on very light volume. And my thoughts haven't changed, that I think that we wiggle and go sideways for a week or two. We have some really big whipsaws up and down, but as far as Accenture goes, I'm not ready to place a position just yet. But man, if I can get something like this right over here, or even better between the moving averages, I will be a buyer. And you guys know I don't do a lot of swing trades, but I will be swing trading that. A lot of questions today about, I'll put that back on my watch list. A lot of questions today about Costco. So let me put that back there. Oh, I'm loving this one. Just need a couple of more days. I might do, no, I need this thing to break and then I'll buy the retest. So if this breaks up, I will do an absolute value buy limit on a call just above that resistance. And if it breaks down, I will do an absolute value play on a put, because I do expect absolute zero. Is that what I said, Benjamin? Who knows what's coming out of my mouth right now? The brain and the mouth are not communicating very well right now, but that's okay. Yes, an absolute zero strategy with an option, whether that's a call or a put, and it will be a limit play. So if it breaks up, I will be looking for something like that. If it breaks down, I will be looking for something like that. But I like Costco. That is easily my favorite out of any of these on the list that we are not in. Julian says Apple and Shopify. Don says, made it, done making paths for the ATV. Ooh, that sounds like fun work. With those higher lows, I would expect a bullish break. It might have to go sideways for another week and wait till I come back from my vacation, and then we'll all trade it together. MU, I exited this one yesterday. Benjamin, you are amazing, because Benjamin said, yo, that looks like bullish divergence. I think you and I found this together. But yeah, bullish divergence on MU. And so I exited yesterday, and today it had a higher high and a higher low. Woohoo! Who would have guessed that? Let's see. I have this on our list for options day trading. Yeah, I'll be watching this carefully. Okay. Benjamin says, I just read the charts. Don says, double bottom forming. I do like the bullish volume in there, Don. Would I call that a double bottom? Maybe. That's a weird looking pattern. But could be. Could be. I will be looking to go bullish on it above there. If it wants to wiggle, I'll go bearish on it below there. If it rests, right, wiggles a little bit, let these moving averages coming down. But for now, I'm waiting. Don says, end of double top. Yeah, there was a double top there, and it came down into support, and I exited. Yeah, that's what we do. So what does MU look like before it goes bullish? Well, that was kind of scary times. That looks actually very similar to that. So we might need to find one of those over here. So it might actually poke a little bit lower before it breaks up again. Benjamin says it's also support resistance from early 2018. Yes, I agree. That was one reason why I was ready to exit because I had these targets drawn. Absolutely. So waiting on MU. A new stock to the watch list is Lilly Pharmaceuticals. Because of earnings are coming up, I decided this morning before the market not to make an official trade with a buy limit there and a protective stop there. But absolutely love the run, love the rest, love the gap out of the channel. And just to be candid, thank you, Ron DeMerit. Just to be candid, we exited some shares of Lilly stock right there. Benner says, get ready for ABC. All right. But if this thing can wiggle until earnings, I would love to have a buy limit there with a protective stop there. We'll see what it does. Earnings are on November 5th, it looks like. If earnings were not there, yeah, I would have bought in today. NIO is a position that we are in. Didn't have the prettiest candle today, but it did have the prettiest volume. If you're going to make a bearish candle, I love that. I love that one there. Benjamin says, I may go for the next support on Lilly. All right. So this looks like a very classic bearish flag pattern. A little bit higher volume yesterday, but it is up by 3 cents in the post market. And the beautiful thing about this is that as long as it is, I guess, let's see, we talked about it today, as long as it's above $9.10 on November 16th, which is there. That was a horrible drawing. November 16th is here. As long as we are above $9.10, we will have some flavor of a profit. So it can wiggle, do all this kind of stuff as long as it's up there. And if it starts doing that, we will be profitable long before it gets there. So I'm holding and loving it. Questions, thoughts on what we have on the watch list or what we have active positions on? Type them in. And I will start working on the request. Oh, one thing I wanted to talk about is there are some inverse ETFs. And I think, Nia, you were asking about this in Slack today. Apologize, I didn't get back to you. I had a dentist appointment this morning. Then I was 2 hours on the webinar. Then I had a coaching session that went pretty long, a little bit over an hour. And then I had to go get the kids. But so you guys see what the SPY is doing here. There has been talk about inverse ETFs, and yesterday I showed and shared this website, etf.stock-encyclopedia.com. The link is in Slack, or you can just pause and type in literally etf.stock-encyclopedia.com. And you come down here and there's some short bearish ETFs, and you can look at all kinds of fun ones, pick out the ones you want. Look for ones that have high average volumes. TZA is one that I have traded before. You guys like SPXS quite a bit. Where is that? It's a long list, and if yeah, it's going to take a while for me to find. It's there. Benjamin likes SQQQ. But there's SDAO for shorting the Dow. But if you take a look at what the market does here and you look at some of these inverse ETFs, they are going to be just about the exact opposite. And the idea is if you want to buy something in a retirement account because you can't go short, if you want to buy something that's going to go up when the market goes down, this fund SPXS is leveraged 3 times. So every percent that the market goes down, this one should go up 3%, which means you're going to need less shares to offset the movement in your other portfolio. I know Vito and a few other traders love trading some ETFs, and for the last couple of years they've been trading those ETFs bullish, but a lot of those ETFs are hard to short. So come over here and find an inverse fund that will go up when whatever you've been watching will go down. And then, of course, you can just go long on the inverse fund like SPXS. This one averages 4.9 million shares a day. You're not gonna have problems getting filled. This is TZA, which is a small cap bear fund. That trades an average of 13 million shares a day. One thing I would request that you look at for these leveraged ETFs, whether they are long or short, inverse or regular, make sure they have high volume, because in the past I've traded these ETFs and they are supposed to track to an index, and when they get too far away from that index, the computer will automatically buy or sell a gazillion shares to move it in one direction or another. And if that's against you, that can be painful. Benjamin says, just be ready for gaps. Yes, because there is a computer that will come in and buy and sell to adjust the price for whatever it's supposed to be. Benjamin says, expecting ABC on Lily. Yep, okay. Oh, yeah, gotcha. Sorry, I'm late on the chat pane. Benjamin likes SQQQ. We can take a look at that quickly. Yep, Ultra Pro Short. Okay, so this one is not leveraged. It's just inverse, SVXY. This one is a VIX short-term futures. And UVXY is an Ultra VIX short-term futures. So UVXY, oh, this is SVXY is short. This is okay. So this is an inverse. Gotcha. It's a short-term futures. Ugh. Let me share this with someone real quick, Benjamin, because I know Vito's been looking for something like this. Check out SVXY. It might be an inverse to your TVIX. All right. At Angie, I'm going to 3 FTPs. FTPs for at Benjamin Jane for just complete and total awesomeness over the last 2 weeks, for helping me find all kinds of stuff that has saved people money. Thanks for all your help, Benjamin. I would be more specific, but it's only an hour program. It would take more than an hour to tell everyone all the stuff you've helped me out with this last week, and help other traders as well. So awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Dang, Masashi put in Slack earlier, got 4R today. Woohoo! All right, SSTI was requested. Volume is too low for me to trade this, so watch out for that one. Interesting little double top up here, has come down sharply to a support area, and a lot of stocks are going to look like this. So I'm probably going to sound like a broken record today, and that broken record is going to be, well, first of all, earnings are coming up, so wait for earnings, because a lot of companies are going to be having earnings in the next 2 or 3 weeks, and wait for the wiggle. So I'm going to wait for the downward move to stop, and then I'm going to also wait for earnings. If you do not want to wait for earnings, consider buying an option, a directional option. So if you're bullish, you can buy a call. If you're bearish, you can buy a put, but buy one that will cost you less than an R. So that way, if it gets completely wild and crazy, you will not get stopped out. Because folks, I'm expecting some wild, crazy ups and downs on the market. And if you're in shares, you're going to have an entry and a protective stop. And if things get wild and wacky, protective stops are going to get fired. But if you have absolute value, absolute zero value options, then you don't have a stop, and then your protective stop doesn't get fired. You don't get wicked out or whipsawed out prematurely. So that will be my strategy going forward. I say my strategy for the next couple of days are going to be chillax and relax with family. I'm on vacation next week, but when I come back, that's what I'll be doing. Benjamin says the market ensures both sides get trapped eventually. Questions, comments, opposing views on SSTI, let me know. But yeah, if I'm not in, I'm going to wait for earnings or do an absolute. First of all, I'm going to wait for it to wiggle and establish some support and perhaps even a resistance. And if I get in before earnings, it will be with an absolute zero value option. Simon says, okay, thanks. Cool, Simon. If you got questions, type it in. Amazon has been a popular topic recently. When I look at Amazon and I put a lot of data here, I see some of these moves on Amazon, and I look at the length of time of those moves, and they're all about the same length of time. All those pink lines are about the same distance. So I think we're due for the pullback. I think the pullback is good. The pullback is healthy. Take a look at that. I think we get one of those. So while I think the price that we have corrected is about the right amount, I don't think the time is about the right amount, which means I think it's going to do some wild and crazy stuff for a while, probably until earnings. So what I would love for Amazon to do is to come up here, maybe underneath the 100, go sideways, do all your wild, crazy wicks and whatever, and then across earnings, have a gap up, and I will be buying calls and trading that thing bullish. BMAT says, wow, that is perfectly spaced out. Yes. Yes. Benjamin says, I'd sell 1,500 puts if I had $150,000 lying around. Oh, Benjamin, you don't have any more R's? I mean, that's one R, right, for you? 150K? Yeah, options on Amazon are expensive. So I guess I said I would be buying calls if it goes up. I probably won't. Or if I do, I will do a debit spread. So if you want to trade an expensive stock like Amazon bullish, you can buy a call, and then to offset the price, you can sell a call right above it. And if you buy a call and sell a call, you can probably afford that. Your maximum profit is capped, but that is one way that you can get into something like that. Benjamin says, dude, just trade the Qs. That's true. Yeah, just pick an ETF or a market or something else. Something else. That's where I'd go, Benjamin. If you can't afford it, just trade something else, because there's a lot of stuff. So again, my strategy with Amazon is just to wait. If you're in it, buy protective puts. If you've got long-term shares, have a long-term stop loss. And yeah, earnings coming up, and then we'll trade it after earnings. Questions, thoughts, opposing views, let me know. Ticker SQ has also been a hot commodity. And yeah, just kind of like these others. I would love for this thing to make an ascending triangle. And then after earnings, I'll look to buy the bounce. If I do get in before earnings, it will be with an absolute zero value call. Let's check out gold. This is, yeah, so one thing I noticed today is a lot of the gold and the precious metal funds had a huge day. A lot of these precious metal funds will go up when people think the market is going down. So today may have been the day where a lot of people bailed out of the market and are starting to look for these inverse funds. And a lot of times when that happens, those folks are going to get trapped like that. So let's keep an eye on these precious metals and see how much they move. Benjamin says, remember, they spike. Yes, these are spiky wiki things. But this, the precious metal funds may be an indicator of what some of the other folks are anticipating from the overall market. Benjamin says, sold some calls today. All right. Now, let's see. I think I can do Apple and Shopify, and I believe that's the end of the requested tickers. So if you did have a ticker you wanted me to take a look at, I didn't see it, please type it in again and we will check it out for sure. Apple has earnings coming up, riding with the tech market. There you go, Nia, appreciate that. Yeah, so Apple gonna have trouble going up when the market is not going up. While this does look, I understand that this looks bearish on Apple. I am not going to go screaming buying puts on Apple. There is a chance it comes down to the 100. Apple goes up and Apple goes down, right? But over the long run, it tends to go more up than down. Folks are typing in tickers, so let me grab those before I forget or before the chat pane scrolls past them. Benjamin says, wait for a lower high at least. Yeah, that's a great point. Made a higher high. So let's wait for it to come up and do something like that. You know, when you're wondering, when is the time to go bearish on a stock? Like a lot of people are asking. The best thing to do is just go back in history. And I mean, we might get this on Apple, but if we do, we're probably going to get that. Interesting. Apple doesn't always make lower highs. It did have a really cute little retest there. That would have been pretty easy to take it bearish had we been watching it. But just go back in time and there, that's what we're looking for, right, Benjamin? We're looking for something like that, and then we're going bearish there. Awesome sauce. But again, have a plan now. Make your plan now for what you're going to do. Don't wait until everything is screaming bearish and on fire. Make your plan now. Got a lot of questions from folks that did not have a plan. There's a lot of fear out there because folks don't have a plan. Make your plan now, please. All right, very cool. Marion says, did anyone bring up PayPal? No, which you did. So I'll put PayPal on the list. How about that? Benjamin says, it took gold years to bounce. Yeah, some stocks don't bounce. I know someone who bought Dell computers and it took a dip and she was saying, it'll come back, it'll come back, it'll come back. Held on to it for about 3 or 4 years. And then Michael Dell says, you know what, I'm taking the company private again. And it never came back. So there's that, there's the possibility. There's also the thought that, hey, if whatever you're in is going down, there's a good chance it will come back. But how much time are you giving up? Consider closing out your position, taking the loss, and then go get in something now that's going up rather than wait for years and years and years or whatever it is. At any rate, Apple, earnings coming up, so I am waiting to enter any kind of position. If I do get a signal on Apple, it will be an absolute zero value option. But basically waiting for wiggle consolidation. If I get that, I don't mind someone taking it bullish. If it does come down into here and then come back and make some kind of scary lower high, if you choose to trade Apple bearish, do it quickly. It will eventually have a big, long bearish run, but most of the bearish pullbacks on Apple are fast. So keep that in mind. Questions, comments, opposing views on Apple, type them in. Let's take a look at Shopify. Now, Shopify just did make a lower high. So if you get this on Apple, right, there's the higher high. Here is the pullback. Here is a double top on a lower high with bearish volume. Then I will be buying puts on Apple. So take a look at that pattern. If we get that on Apple, I'll be going bearish. Support in through here on Shopify. I see another support right in through there. I see another support right in through here. Wow, those almost look like Fibonacci lines. Folks, this is why I don't do Fibonacci, because you can eyeball it. But use the tool if you want. So in my opinion, it's at a support level. It's extended in the bearish direction. I think we wiggle. Earnings coming up super fast. Looks like 2 weeks, 14 days. So I will not be entering anything on Shopify until after earnings. Again, would love some flavor of an ascending triangle, and then we can take it on bullish. I suppose if it comes up and makes a descending triangle, somewhere around in there, I don't know. I think that one's going to be tough to take bearish. So I like a bullish position more, but I'm waiting until earnings, and I'm waiting for it to clearly define support and resistance. So once again, if you have questions on Shopify, let me know. When I'm looking at these stocks that you guys are requesting, sometimes I don't know if you're looking for an entry or you're in and you're looking for your exit. So if I don't give you the piece of information you're looking for, just hit me up in Slack, type me in the chat pane, do what you got to do. I am happy, more than happy, to tell you my opinion, or my give you my opinion on whatever you are considering. ATVI, Activision Blizzard, is going to be pretty much the same as some of these others. Beautiful, steady, higher lows. Maybe that line is too high. Something like that. I would love for us to go sideways, maybe for that trend line in the daily 200 to catch up. Earnings coming up, and then I would trade that bullish. I would be shocked if that happens, but if it does, I will buy calls. I will buy 4-month calls and look for this thing to go up. Because man, folks, when it goes up, it goes up. It goes fast. And if I do anything before earnings, I will be doing it, shockingly enough, with an absolute zero value call. Questions, thoughts, opposing views? Simon says, I think ATVI is good for the long term. I agree. You put long term on that, it's been going up for a long time. ABCFF, Abacus Mining and Exploration Company. Pretty low volume. It's 12 cents. So I don't know how to trade this thing. Whatever you buy, however big your position, I would say do not risk more than an R. Sort of an absolute zero value play, except with shares, right? So you know, don't use a protective stop. Your protective stop is zero. Sashi says, is there a volume? You look for swing trades as well. Francois says it's ABCFF. Let me see if there's a different exchange I need to be on. They want, oh, ACBFF. Gotcha. You probably typed it incorrectly. My brain just said, let's take a look at that. Okay, Arora Cannabis. Does have good volume. Masashi, is there a volume I look for on swing trades? I still like 500,000. when you start getting into low volumes, I start fearing, I start getting afraid of monkey business by the market maker looking for my stop, or falsely triggering me in. I look for big names if it's going to be less than 500,000 shares per day. Also, I want it to be liquid, which means when I want out, I want there to be shares available to get me out. Masashi says, "What's a money? What's a money maker? That's a monkey maker, a market maker. Market maker is the person that decides which orders get filled and which ones do not. So the market maker sets the price for the stock and moves the price up and down to fill people's orders. So if there are a whole lot of sell orders, the market maker needs people to buy it in order to fill those sell orders. So if there's lots of sell orders, the market maker will lower the price so that more people will buy it so that they can fill the sell orders. When there's lots of people that want to buy the stock, the market maker raises the price so that there will people be incented to sell it so they can fill the buy orders. ABCFF, okay. It's been picking up in volume. It's been doing fairly well. A little bit extended in the bullish direction. Just had earnings though. If it wants to relax and go sideways a little bit, then I could look to take it on bullish. But I need this to go sideways a little bit and better clearly define support. I need one of these. I need some sideways action on it. Maybe even one of those. But right now I see kind of a rounding pattern, and I need this rounding to stop. I need some sideways action. And then I'd look to go more bullish on it. If I do have shares of this, maybe a protective stop somewhere in this range, depending on how long-term you want to be. You could exit some there and exit some more there. And Chat Payne's talking about how market makers work. Yeah, it's not something I can talk about in 10 minutes. It's Masashi. On the day trading program tomorrow, I'll give you a frequent trader point if you ask about market makers, and we will record a video and we'll answer all kinds of questions, and I'll throw a frequent trader point your way. Sound good? And so for those of you watching this video, there's likely to be a video coming tomorrow about what is a market maker and how do they work. So Aurora, if you're not in it but want to be in it, I'm going to wait for some sideways action. If you are in it, you know, protective stops, either, I think somewhere in this range, depending on how long-term you want to be in it. Questions, thoughts, opposing views, type them in. Here is TCDA, which is Tricida, okay. Again, probably too low volume for me to trade. This is a pretty typical shape for an IPO, and this is why we traded NIO the way we did. This might be a higher low. I'm not going to take this trade, but if you want to trade the breakout of that, I'm not going to argue with you. If you want to do a buy limit there with your protective stop down there, I think that makes a lot of sense as well. I really like this higher high, and I really like how the current pullback is about the same size as the previous pullback. I am more bullish than bearish on TCDA. Yeah, I'm more bullish than bearish on TCDA. If the volume were higher and I knew a little bit more about it, I might like it. I absolutely love the fact that it failed that bottom Bollinger Band, because when stocks fail to get into that band, they tend to reverse. So I think we are ready to bounce and to go bullish on TCDA. I'm not going to trade it, but I am putting this on my watch list. Stokes and RSI. Are we crossing? Oh, we are crossing. Folks, that is a bullish indicator. The cross right there is a bullish indicator. I'm getting all kinds of bullish, fun vibes on TCDA. The volume is too low for me, and I don't know much about it, but that looks good. I don't like IPOs, but man, if I did, that looks tasty. So whoever requested TCDA is here. Did I answer your question? I'm putting that up right next to Costco. Don says, I am in. Sweet. So Don, if you just got in, I think a protective stop, let's see, if you're in, I think I'd want my protective stop down here for now. But maybe once we cross that level, you can, I would raise my stop to there. I like it. Great, great trade, Don. I am jealous of you. Once again, PayPal, I believe, is the last one on that was requested. So, oh, Don, there, I see your point. And this one as well, IPO, sweet. If there's more requests, type them in. I got about 5 or 7 minutes more. So I will run through these transportation stocks quickly. I don't think we're going to have any entry signals because earnings coming up. PayPal, once again, of these tech stocks coming down into a wicked strong support and earnings coming up soon. So my plan on PayPal is to wait, watch for it to wiggle. Let me know that this is the bottom support, or let me know where the resistance is, and then after earnings, take it bullish, or I don't know if I'm going to take it bearish. If it does gap down here, I'm probably waiting for more wiggles to take it bullish. Demand says, one of the few stocks that were green today. I mean, it ended up closing bearish, but there was a healthy handful of stocks that were up. In the day trading program, we went through a whole bunch. Adobe, more requests. There you go. Adobe was a green stock today, and on big volume. So Adobe, looks like Adobe just had earnings and won't have earnings for 2 months. So let's see if Adobe can establish some support here and buy a call. Like it. Actually, let's add this one to our watch list. Put it right up there. Transportation stocks, I'm going to go super fast. Once again, earnings coming up. Would love a wiggle right in this level on United Airlines. Let's see what happens next week when it announces earnings. PayPal, you can do that. American Airlines. Benjamin saying the weekly 50 on Adobe is where it's at, and the gap is going to fill. All right. American Airlines, once again, earnings coming up. A little bit wrecked in the bearish direction. So if you are trading this thing bearish, I think it's time to close out that position, or at least tighten your stop. It may go some more, but the size of this run, the size of that run is about the size of that run. So I think it's close to target level. Earnings coming up, I will wait for the wiggle. Southwest Airlines, like a lot of others, earnings coming up in 14 days, looking for it to establish some level of support resistance, and then we'll enter after earnings. Delta Airlines, getting wrecked. Actually, a nice little recovery today. Made a doji at a rock solid support. Once again, earnings coming up. Or did earnings already happen? Were earnings today? Delta worth a watch if you want the airlines. But again, anything that's had this bearish run for me is going to have to wiggle and show me where support and resistance is. Robert says, they had earnings this morning. Nia says, no love there for Southwest Airlines. All right, so they had earnings today. We can watch and see what they do. this thing's in a channel and has been in a channel for a while. So if you want to buy the dip and sell and just play kind of that channel strategy, that seems to make sense, or would have made a lot of money over a while. General Motors down some more, really, but earnings coming up soon, and it is coming into a really strong support zone. Blue chippy stocks like General Motors are difficult to short because they just don't go down that much. But man, if we get one of these inverted head and shoulders somewhere around over here, I might even be a buyer of General Motors, especially if you are a long-term buyer and seller. Kind of the same thing on Ford. This thing is so extended in the bearish direction. Looks like a Fibonacci level of retracement. I expect support anytime soon. Earnings are coming up, so I will not be entering any of those. Speed round. CSX looks a little bit more traditional. Earnings coming up in 5 days. Let's see if it can establish support somewhere in this range. Then we'll wait for after earnings. Caterpillar, again, into rock solid earnings. Let's see if we can get one of these inverted head and shoulders right over here over the course of or right after earnings, and we'll trade it back up into that level. If you want to do a buy limit on an absolute zero value call expiring in December or January, that I think is a pretty decent play. My main concern with buying a call is if you get that sideways action right over here, you're going to get hosed. You're going to need this thing to go rocketing upwards. And as we can see over earnings, last time it did nothing. Although earnings so the last year when it had earnings, it went sideways. So seeing that this thing can go sideways for a while, I am not going to be using the absolute zero value on a call, because when you do, anytime you buy directional options, it has to move quickly, or else the theta and the volatility, the theta decay and the drop in volatility will chew up the premium of your option. So I will wait for a breakout. John Deere, pretty much the same as Caterpillar. Earnings a little bit later. This thing made gorgeous higher highs and higher lows. Came into a very reasonable resistance level. I think I'm moving this to look for a bounce. We got 40 days till earnings. If this thing wants to wiggle between support and between the long-term moving averages, I would consider buying to take that thing on higher. So I'm moving John Deere up to my watch list. Folks, that is my time. Thank you so much for trading with me. Any requests, send them my way. I get to do the swing trading floor again tomorrow, and then I am out. Jeremy Newsom is back. You guys rock. I'm going to start downloading this video and uploading it. Oh, and I'm going to go get my kids from dance class. You guys rock. Thanks for trading with me. Thank you for your awesomeness. Thank you for sharing your plans with me, because when you guys share your plans with me, it makes me look good, and I try and throw it back at you. I'm like, I'm not this awesome. I didn't catch that bullish divergence on MU. That was Benjamin. But you guys rock. Stay awesome and trade on logic, not on hope. Thank you, everyone.